If you were hoping to get your hands on a Commander deck from Commander Masters, you might be in for a bit of a sticker shock. Because in this video, we're going to discuss the increasing prices for these sealed products being released from Wizards of the Coast, the lowering allocation numbers being delivered to stores, and then we have to touch base on the secondary market and other cards that are jumping in price. It's bad enough that Commander Masters has a high price tag attached to the draft and booster boxes, but now even the Commander Master Commander decks are in a lot of trouble. Shortened allocation numbers, delayed shipping, and people's orders being canceled is never a good way to start a video. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And it's an unfortunate day in the world of Magic the Gathering because that's what's happening. Imagine you had the hunch, the idea that you wanted to pre-order these decks. You got a fairly decent price, a price you could swallow at least and say, okay, they may not be the best decks, but they're a good starting off point for things you'd like to create with and buy cards on the secondary market to augment these decks with, only to find out that you're not going to get it because they're already sold out and the allocation numbers have been cut at the local LGS level. This is kind of that insanity you never want to hear about, but it does happen. It happens more often than it used to, and it either is a bigger LGS getting a bigger slice of the pie, distribution problems somewhere in the supply chain, or that distributor actually isn't receiving the product the way they're supposed to. It's kind of a scary idea to hope and pray that a pre-order goes through, you've slammed down some hard-earned money, and now they say you're not going to get it, and that you have to wait in line, wait in queue. And you know what the worst part of this is? Some of these decks are fairly decent, especially the Eldrazi one, and the prices are starting to creep up. The sticker shock we're seeing when these cards in some places are jumping up 20% already it's unfortunate. It's what stores tend to do when they're a little less scrupulous than others. They have underhanded business practices, but it's what they do to stay afloat and be a little bit greedy and make some money when they can. It doesn't go well with customers. It doesn't go well with the community, but it does happen. Now, what are you to do now they've canceled your order? Well, that's up to the individual player, but I know from what I'm hearing from people, it's not a good sign. Many are saying they're not going to shop at that local LGS, the fists and pitchforks, and I can't blame them. If you're a store who made a promise for these things and you overindulged people and sold more than you were supposed to, that's on you, the store, and I hope you didn't do that. Most of the stores I'm in contact with, so far, no one has told me they have had allocation numbers cut to the point where they can't fulfill their customer base. The clients are getting their packages from the stores I deal with, but they are themselves not getting to crack any boxes for singles. So those 10 cards in each one, they're not going to have a lot left over to actually sell in their singles cases. So they're kind of in a bit of a bind as well. And they're all trying to find a way to scramble and cover up the short gap. Now, of course, that doesn't say anything when you look at the actual boxes, like the draft boxes or set boxes. Those, I heard, cut allocation numbers for some set boxes in some areas, but not others. The bigger stores I've dealt with have no issue. And then the price tag, of course, we haven't seen a lot of pre-ordering. So stores who knew this price was a little too expensive really haven't over-ordered. Even the bigger stores cut their numbers down a bit to say, I don't think it's going to sell that well. I don't want it sitting on a shelf. And that's where things end off for that part of our conversation, which is kind of scary to think about. Because when you spend harder money and you do the pre-order, I know you guys can cancel your pre-orders too and then the store gets stuck. And in this case, it's a vice versa thing, but it leaves a bit of that sour taste in your mouth when you've been waiting, you pumped out the money, you figure it was already expensive to begin with, a premium price for a product that's decent but not really premium. It just doesn't go well for players. But here's another thing. I have a whole list here. I have a whole list. Now, we did a top 10 video this weekend, okay? Top 10. That show the hottest selling cards in Magic. And the number one card, thousands of sales. But what if I told you a card slipped through that I didn't catch? That I didn't catch until Sunday evening when I was doing research for this video. Do you know the land wastes? Remember from like Oath of the Gatewatch? You can look it up, a full art waste. 15,000 sold in the last 6 days. 15,000. That is the highest number ever that I have counted and accumulated. And I had help doing this, but either way, 15,000. How about Ugin the Spirit Dragon? How many copies do you think sold there, guys? there is a whole resurgence of secondary market value cards that you need to be aware of. These spikes in the market mean that anyone trying to find cards to outfit a new Eldrazi deck, colorless cards you might want to get into, everything from Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, Embercool, the Promised End, the Eye of Ugin, Sanctum of Ugin, the Conduit of Ruin. I could keep going. I threw the list down. Take a look before you buy. Do not get suckered into higher prices because this is going on right now. Somebody managed to buy a whole bunch of these and is reselling them. I don't know who it is, but I've seen the sales figures start to stack up and the prices are increasing. This is what FOMO is. This is what I just talked about on the weekend on how bad it can be in the reserve list video when things spike like this. But it's just as bad with modern cards, commander cards that people don't want to wait for. They want them now. All those cards are being sought after, and this, of course, when the values go up like this. When the values start zooming up the list and people see a card go from $20 to $40, from $1 even to $3, Wizards of the Coast sees new reprint equity. Okay, so they're glad that the dwindling stocks make the card more in demand because they can reprint it in a later product, of course devoted to Eldrazi or to an Enchantress deck or anything in between that they can make money off of. And that's what's happening for the Eldrazi right now. And it's specifically Eldrazi. Yes, Slivers are selling a lot of cards as well. Sliver Legion, Sliver Overlord, all these had higher sales, but those cards aren't as dirt cheap as some of these were. And people who went in and bought 100 copies at a time, that's speculation, and that's people going to be cashing in on the value, okay? I already know 2 people contacted me and already flipped them. So they may have bought like 200 copies, and then they flipped it and triple X their money. This happens all the time, but right now is not the time to buy these cards. If you're a person who had your order canceled, you're not going to get the cards anyway. I hope you're not shopping on the secondary market for cards you want to buy. You've got to wait for the market to calm down. Some of you aren't even aware of this yet, but these sales are just upticking everywhere from even common cards that were like 10 cents going for 50, 60 cents. That's still X times their money that they were before the FOMO started to begin. Don't fall into that cycle. Give yourself a bit of a break. Step back from the frustration you're feeling from your local LGS or from wherever you ordered the cards from, online, TCG Player, I don't care. Wherever you got them from, if you're a person who had your order canceled, it sucks, but you might as well now sit in the back seat, enjoy the show, and see what goes on around you. These sales will probably keep up for another week or two because of what's coming, right? They know the Commander Masters is coming. Those decks are sought after. The tribal theme has got people into kind of a little bit of a FOMO whirlpool, and people are spending some serious money. I couldn't believe how many Ugin the Spirit Dragon sold from all the different editions, from the promo version from Khans of Tarkir to the original version to the reprinted versions in was it M21, right? Was that? Yeah, I think it was 21, Core 21. All those cards, guys, so many are sold. I started adding them up. I got to about 900 and I just stopped because that's a lot in a small 5-day window. Next week, a lot of these cards are going to be in the top 10. It's unavoidable now just from the sheer volume. Waste alone will probably make the number 1 card because who can beat it when somebody buys 500 copies for like 50 cents each? That's just insanity. And then they're going to resell them for what, $1 or $2 in triple X? It's nuts to think about, but this is where we're at right now. So you might be a little bit upset, but it's a good thing right now to take a back seat in the theater and just watch the show. You're not paying for the overpriced ticket. You're not taking the FOMO ride with everybody else, and you're not overpaying for cards that will settle down. Oath of the Gatewatch has a massive print run. These cards are going to be available. All these cards from Oath of the Gatewatch and these Conduit of Ruin and stuff cards, guys, they're like 20-cent cards. You shouldn't be paying $5 each. Let everything calm down. Pick up the cards you need afterwards. But remember that Wizards of the Coast, if these cards don't fall back down in price quick enough, they'll end up on a reprint list somewhere in a future Modern Masters style type thing because they can put these in there. Another Commander Masters next year or the year after, where they can see how the market sucked up the volume of cards, and now you're adding new cards that they can sell. They say, oh, this card went from $1 to $12. We can now sell this, and it has a certain amount of reprint equity we can cash in on again. It's engineered wealth. That's what they've done right here. If this is how they've done it, if my tinfoil hat is on tight enough, that's what it looks like. It looks like these cards they knew would shoot up in value, or somebody knew, because the rebuying, reselling is really strong right now. Either way, people need to be aware of this. You need to know what's happening with the shortened orders, allocation cuts, and the spikes on the secondary market. I can't wait to see what everyone says about this in the comments section. Did you buy in? Did you get in early? Did you have your orders canceled? If you're happy, if you're angry, I want to know what you guys are thinking about in the comment section. Slam that stuff down. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to leave a comment, but also subscribe to the channel. Help us get closer to 20,000 subscribers, and the party we'll have when we get there. Guys who are watching my content each and every day, thanks again. The thumbs up are amazing, as well as the comments. I look forward to seeing you guys later. Don't forget, turn on the notification bell. I put new content out each and every day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. It is an awesome game. And of course, guys, a big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic patrons I have on my channel, my YouTube membership members. With their support, it allows for daily uploaded content here on the channel. A special thank you goes out to each and every one of you for allowing me to do this every day. Patrons, you're right. Welcome back to the end of the video. This is the Ramble Jamble Marvel Cinematic Universe section where we say, hey man, what's up? I'm just going to say random things because this is where I do it. Welcome back. So, I have a little bit of coffee. You'll see backgrounds like this all week because I'm on vacation this week, as most of you know, who actually make it to the end of my videos. So the sound and quality might be a little bit off. The lighting system and everything's the same, but it's a much bigger space and it's not soundproof like I have at home. So we all have to survive together, okay? That's just the way it's going to be. I have a lot of yard work to do up here, as well as get the family sorted out each and every day, going to the beach and stuff. But I may have some extra time in the morning, so earlier than this time, this is like, what, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? I'm getting ready for the live stream after this. But maybe like 4 or 5 hours before this, you might see some actual mini live streams of like a half hour, 45 minutes. We'll see how they go. They're not going to be announced or anything. I'll just show up and turn them on and see who shows up to chat Magic with me, okay? But either way, I'm glad you guys are here. Can't wait to have these discussions all week. We're going to have a good time. And if I find out anything else about the allocation cuts or if things are going to get fixed up, I'll let you guys know right away. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the live stream.